Hey guys, welcome back to my channel and thank you so much for watching. In today's video, I'm going to be showing you how I made this penguin themed Valentine's cake, so let's get right into it. I'm starting out with two 6-inch cakes that I've leveled and cut in half, and I'm going to be filling those with some Swiss meringue buttercream using my small offset spatula. Once my cake is stacked up, I'm applying a thin layer of my buttercream all around the outside to help lock in those crumbs, and then that's going to go in the fridge to chill for about 25 minutes. Once you can touch your finger to the buttercream and none of it comes off, it's ready for the final ice. So I'm adding a big dollop of buttercream on the top of my cake, and then just using my spatula and my turntable, I'm smoothing that out until it's nice and level and even. Using my larger offset spatula, I'm adding buttercream to the sides of my cake, and then with my bench scraper, I'm just going to scrape that back until the sides are smooth. And for all of the buttercream that accumulated on the top of the cake, with my bench scraper, I'm just dragging that into the center, being careful not to mess up my nice level top. Now that my cake is nicely iced, that's going to go back into the fridge to chill, and then I'm going to start on my fondant. I'm rolling out this light blue marshmallow fondant. If you would like the recipe for any of the things that I've used in this video, I will link them down below. I'm rolling that out onto my cornstarch surface to roughly about 1/8 of an inch thick. If you have any bubbles that form in your fondant as you're rolling it out, you can just grab a little pin and then pop those and guide the arrow with your finger. I'm picking my fondant up with my fondant roller and then draping that over my chilled cake, and just moving quickly with my fondant smoother and my hands. I'm pushing all the air out from the top of my cake and working my way down the sides, just pulling out all the pleats in my fondant and smoothing until I reach the bottom. I went over my cake one more time with my fondant smoother, and then for the excess at the bottom, I just cut that away using my pizza cutter. To make my penguins, I'm using some black fondant, and then I'm going to roll out this fat teardrop shape, and I'm just making sure that it's a little bit blunt at the top, and I'm also rolling out another smaller ball of black fondant, kind of pushing it a little bit against my countertop, forming more of like an oval shape versus a circle, and that's going to be the head, and then I'm just making sure that those two fit snugly together. For the face on my penguin, I'm rolling out some white fondant, and then using my little heart cutter, I'm cutting that out. And I want the dip in the top of the heart to extend a little farther down, so I'm just trimming that away with my X-Acto knife and just rounding off the tops there so there's no points. I placed that onto the head of my penguin and then just trimmed away the bottom of the heart where the head would meet the body. Using my balling tool, I indented 2 eye sockets on either side and then rolled out these small little balls of black fondant and put them into each one. I added 2 little white balls for the catch lights in either eye, and then with this light pink fondant, I just mushed down 2 little circles against my work surface and put those right underneath the eye for the cheek, so it kind of looks like they're smiling. I had this little itty bitty ball of orange fondant that I rolled into this carroty shape, and then I placed that right on top of where the heart dips down in the center. I rolled out some white fondant and then cut out this teardrop shape, and I'm placing that onto my penguin's body and just making sure to cut off the top so that none of that white is overlapping onto that top bit, so that the head's gonna fit nice and snugly against the body. For my penguin's feet, I'm rolling out more of my orange fondant, and then I'm using this little flower cutter and just punching out a couple of those. For each of the wings, I'm rolling out some black fondant into this long teardrop shape and then just smushing that down against my countertop. One of my penguins is going to be a lady, so with some black food coloring gel and a fine tip paintbrush, I'm just painting on a couple of eyelashes. You can see I've added the bodies to my cake, so I just placed them down where I wanted them to go and then inserted my wooden skewers, just trimming them down so that there was enough room for my head to sit on top. While the wings are still pliable before they've set, I'm adding those, just adding a little bit of water. And you can do whatever you want. My penguins are going to be holding hands. I'm going to have the little girl having one of the wings curled in because she's going to be holding her balloon. And the other penguin's going to have his little wing kind of outstretched because he's going to be holding a pebble. I trimmed away any of the fondant that would kind of make the head stick up more than I wanted it to, and then I just placed either head on top. Mine stayed in place without any water, but if you need it, you can just add a little bit extra on the bottom. Lastly, to finish off their bodies, I added the feet. I used a little bit of water, and I also cut off 2 of the petals just so that they would fit more flush against the bodies. To make the balloon, I'm rolling out some red fondant, and then I'm going to cover that really tightly with a piece of saran wrap, and I'm going to use my heart cutter to punch that out, and the saran wrap just gives it more of like a bubbled effect versus a flat heart. I let my heart set for about an hour, and then using some wire, I just inserted that into the bottom, and I let that set to firm up completely before I tried to add it to my cake. For all of the snowballs that make up the heart on the front of the cake, I just rolled out different sized balls of white fondant and then placed them all into a bowl. I put some white luster dust in there and just gave it a good shake until they were all coated. I'm using this larger heart cutter to indent the front of my cake, just being sure not to press too hard because I don't want to break through that fondant. And this is just going to give me a guide for where I'm going to put all of my snowballs. I brushed some water over the entire heart shape and then started adding my snowballs. I just did this willy-nilly, trying to fill in all the gaps and keeping that heart shape as best as I could. To finish off my penguins, I rolled out a little ball of gray fondant for the pebble in my penguin's hand, and then I added the heart balloon, just making sure that that wire is only going into the penguin and not into the cake because we want to keep it food safe. And this was the final result, guys. I hope you enjoyed this cake. Happy Valentine's Day from me to you. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe and give this video a thumbs up if you like it. I will see you in the next one.